Okay, in this video, I'm going to show you how to build the cylinder plate in SolidWorks. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to sketch the profile. So the shape of it, I'm going to sketch it on the front plane. So I'm going to start a new part. I'm going to make sure my units are inches, pounds, and seconds. I'm going to change the material to plain carbon steel. And I'm going to verify that I have ANSI drafting standard checked off. So I like to jump out of it, go into ISO, go back into ANSI, and that usually fixes everything. Okay, so let's sketch on the front plane. And I'm going to start my sketch right on the origin. And I'm going to draw the basic shape of the profile. So it looks like that. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lines. Okay, and we're going to start filling in some dimensions now. So looking at the print, it's 3 inches long by 2 inches high. So 3 inches long by 2 inches high. Now, before I start adding dimensions, I'm going to add my fillets in the corners first. And those fillets are 3/16 radius. So on my sketch toolbar, I'm going to click Sketch Fillet, type in 3/16, and I'm going to choose the corners to apply the fillets and click the green check mark. Now I'm going to dimension this slot's location. Okay, this geometry is blue, it's underdefined, so we need to give the geometry some dimensions to give it a home. So we've got a 1/2 inch, 2 by a 1/2. So we'll do a 1/2 inch. We'll do 2 inches from here to here. And then we'll do a 1/2 inch from here to here. Okay? That's how we would do that. Now I'm going to revert to my isometric view after all of my dimensions are in place. And with my sketch selected, I'm going to hit Features, Extruded Boss Base. And this goes to a 1/2 inch. And I am going to hit midplane to keep my sketch in the middle. So I switch this from blind to midplane with a total width of a 1/2 inch. That keeps my front plane in the middle of the part, which I can utilize for mounting holes and the air hole that we're going to add later on. Perfect time to click File, Save. Now I'm going to use Hole Wizard multiple times to complete the part. So the first couple of holes are on the left-hand side. We've got a 3/32 through hole and a 3/32 hole that is drilled 3/8 deep. Then we have a number 11 through hole and a 1/4 inch reamed hole. So let's start with the 3/32 through all hole, which is at 1.53 by 0.188. So remember, when using the Hole Wizard, you have to pre-select the surface you want to put the hole on, then click Hole Wizard. I want a plain hole, ANSI inch. I want this to say fractional drill sizes, and I want to choose 3/32 from the list. And this first air hole is drilled through all. So I'm going to click through all, and my hole type is completely set up. Now I have to place the hole somewhere on this surface. So I'm going to hit the Positions tab in Hole Wizard and place the point right about there. And then I'm going to smart dimension its distance to 3/16 and then 1.53 from the bottom. And let's stare at it from the front view and look at the PDF. 1.53 by 0.188. So if I bump this up to 3 decimal places, you'll see that it is 0.188. So that's it for Hole Wizard for this first drilled hole. We're going to use Hole Wizard a second time by clicking on the surface and going back to Hole Wizard. I'm still drilling a 3/32 hole, but this one does not go through all, so I'm going to switch it to blind, and I'm going to give it a blind depth of 3/8 of an inch. So same drilled hole, but instead of going through all, this one goes to a depth of 3/8. Now I get to position it by clicking on the Positions tab and placing the point slightly above the other one. And what I'm going to do is dimension it from the bottom to the 1.72. And then instead of adding a duplicate dimension which places it 3/16 over, I'm going to use this cool little trick that I learned years ago. I'm going to sketch a center line from the center of one hole to here. And as long as this line is vertical, which now it is, because I just added that relation, I don't have to worry about its left and right duplicate dimension. So that's done. We've got one through hole, one blind hole. I'm going to use Hole Wizard again. This time I'm going to switch from fractional drill sizes to number drill sizes. And this third hole is a number 11. Okay? And a number 11, just in case you wanted to know, if I click Show Decimal Values, it tells me that a number 11 drill is going to give me a 191 thou diameter hole. And it goes through all. Once again, I have to jump over to positions once I have the hole defined. The distance to the bottom is 1.625, or 1 5/8, and from the left edge to here is 0.5625. 0.563. So let me click on that, and I'll switch the precision to 3 decimals so that you can see that it is 0.563. You know, at any time you can click on a dimension. On the left hand side, you can change its precision very easily, so you can see what the actual 3-digit number is, or 4, or 2, or 1. And we're going to use, and that's the end of that number 11 hole. We're going to add one more over here somewhere. It's a 1/4 inch hole. So I'm going to pick the surface, click Hole Wizard, switch this from number back to fractional, and I'm going to choose 1/4 inch from the list. Through all, positions, place it right about there. And I'm going to sketch a center line. So I'm going to use this center line technique again, from the center to center, and I'm going to make sure it's a horizontal line. So now all I have to do is tell SolidWorks where its left and right location is. So that's what this last dimension is going to be. And it is 2.5 inches. Okay. So now all of the holes on the face are complete. Okay, so now what we need to do is put an air hole at the top and then a couple of mounting holes at the bottom. So again, I'm going to click the top surface of the part. I'm going to click Hole Wizard, and this is going to be a tapped hole, so I want to make sure that I have straight tap selected, and I want tapped hole, and this is going to be a number 10-32. And it's going to have a blind depth, and because this is a tapped hole, we have a tap drill depth and a tap depth that we have to worry about. Make sure that with thread callout is checked off and this middle option cosmetic thread is shown. The tap depth is going to be 3/16 and the tap drill depth is going to be about 1/4 of an inch. Actually, the tap depth is 1/4 of an inch. The tap drill depth is 5/16. Okay, so let me back up a second. The type of hole is a tapped hole. It's a 10-32. That's its size. It has a blind hole depth of 5/16, a tap depth of 1/4. Now we're going to hit positions, drop it on the top of the part, and dimension it. So it is 3/16 over, and it's in line with the origin. So instead of adding a duplicate dimension, I'm going to make sure that this point remains horizontal with the origin, and that keeps it in place. So now we have our air connection. The air is going to come in and come out of this top hole. Now let's use the same 10-32 tap to provide mounting holes for the base. So I'm going to click the surface I want to put the holes on, go to Hole Wizard, choose 10-32. These are a little bit deeper. Let's see what the depth is. It says tap drill depth is 1/2. The tap depth is 3/8. So this is 3/8. And my tap drill depth is 1/2. Let's go to positions. Let's make these points horizontal with the origin. And oh, my part flipped around. Sorry about that. Well, we are on the bottom of the part, but I'm staring at it from the top just so I can get my math correct. Alright, so let me double check the numbers on the print. It goes over 1/4 of an inch because that's 1/2, and then it goes 2 inches, 2.5 inches over. Yep. Alright. And let's put a cross section through here by choosing the front plane and hitting the section view button on my heads up toolbar, just so we can take a peek on the inside. These are the threaded holes. These are the through holes. The reason why we can't see the threads right now is because my cosmetic threads are turned off. So as one final thing is to go up to Options, click Document Properties, click Detailing, and then turn your shaded cosmetic threads on. And then you should see the threaded holes a little bit easier, so that we can see the tap drill versus the depth of the threads. And here we'll have an air fitting eventually that will feed air into this hole and will come out into the engine so that it will run. So do a quick file save and move on to the next air engine component.